intertwined in that, which they have forgotten. Cut and paste, one committee went to Australia, one committee went to Singapore, one committee went to Malaysia, all of them brought some information, cut paste. Will it suit our country? For them, probably woolen jacket may be good, but you can't wear woolen jacket and walk in the street on May. Thinking internationally everyone is wearing jacket. Probably Murali it may suit. Because I have never seen him without a jacket. And one day I still remember in Delhi when we were going, the flight went very late. The next day morning again we have to catch the morning flight. You won't believe he slept with the jacket itself because there's no time to remove that. Anyhow, that is only very few exceptions that can't become a rule, right? This is the basic fault. The intent of the legislators are very, very good. But the content of the legislation is very bad. I can use the word, very bad. The intention is to see that there is a liberalization. Intention is to give transparency. The intention is to make more accountable. The intention to ease the doing of business. The intention to ensure the stakeholders' interest is protected. Keep all these things objective. Check the Companies Act 2013, all the sections they have so far brought in, approximately 13 chapters. You can't see even one section meets all these requirements. To give you a small example, the much known concept about chartered accountants, related party transaction. There was a mention about it here also, arm's length, related party and all. While giving the memento, some also making a mention at arm's length. That related party transaction, the details is given in the accounts, is required to be disclosed also in the director's report, is again required to be set in the annual return. Why the same information in 3 places? Is it going to simplify? Is it going to give any benefit to the stakeholders? But the cost of compliance gets increased because of that. Probably in the lighter way one can say, so publish it in 3 places, at least in 1 place someone will read. That should not be the intent when you bring in a legislation. What is the end use of it? What is the purpose behind which whenever you bring in a provision in law, or whenever you amend a provision in law, or you bring in a rule or regulation? There should be a purpose. And the purpose should be genuine and it should be capable of being achieved. But all the ingredients what I told, you compare it with the 2013 Act, miserably it will fail the test. So the intent vis-a-vis the content, you can see there is a mismatch. Right? That is the next analysis. Having brought in the Companies Act, you will be surprised, within a span of just 1 year, approximately 45 clarifications have been issued. I went through Oxford Dictionary. I went through the normal day-to-day dictionary what we refer. I went through even the law lexicon to find out what is the meaning of clarification. A clarification is intended to ensure that the difficulty that you experience in interpreting a particular provision is being clarified, not to bring in confusion. The clarification, 45 clarifications they have issued, barring 2 clarifications, there is no clarity, it confuses you. To give you a small example, everything I support with the documentary evidence, nothing has been said just for the sake of platform speaking. 1 lakh deposit is required to be given at the time when you are going to nominate a particular person as a candidature for the office of the director at the shareholders meeting. Whether it is applicable to public company, private company, that's a different story. I'll come to it separately. This 1 lakh, assuming it is a Section 25 company, what am I supposed to do if the person gets elected or if he doesn't get elected? There was some confusion in that. One clarification was sought for. Just go home and read the clarification. The clarification reads, in the case of a Section 25 company, the amount of deposit that has been collected may be reimbursed or forfeited or it can be returned as the chairman may decide. Then why you give a clarification? Chairman is not able to decide. That's the reason why we are coming, because the law is silent. So when I can take a decision, you need not sit there to provide us a clarification. So you have clarifications, followed by that, you have notifications, followed by that, the rule making mechanism, and over and above that, we have a peculiar concept called as removal of difficulties order. Whenever you find a difficulty in going through the particular provision, ministry will come to your rescue, they will issue an order called as removal of difficulties order. you take it from me, one day it will come to a situation where the only difficulty is MCA by itself, removal of difficult order, remove MCA itself. We will not be surprised. The way things are moving, right? Removal of difficulties for whom? No one knows. Is removing whose difficulty? We have no idea about it. These are fundamental principles of management. Anything that is delayed is denied. This is a fundamental principle. I'll give you one example again to support this. This law, very unfortunately, when it was brought into existence, have refused to understand or accept the basic concept, private companies. Out of the total number of companies which are active, more than 90% are private companies. You can't treat private company and public company at par. It is unconstitutional. To give you an example, according to the provision of law, I am supposed to give 21 clear days notice. In a private company, myself and my wife are the directors. Why I require 21 clear days notice to meet her? Every day morning, whether I like it or not, I have to see her. She proposes, she decides, she is approved. There is no opportunity. And she is the chairperson. If there is a dissent, casting vote will be exercised. Why 21 clear days? Are you not making a mockery of the situation? 7 days notice to convene a meeting of the board. Many a time private company decisions are taken, then we record it in the minutes. It is a fact. Let us accept it. So there are so many situations under the Companies Act, right from section 1 till the 13th chapter, the concept of private companies suddenly given a go by. The government said immediately, don't worry, we will come to your rescue. That is the reason why we have structured the new law with a rule-making mechanism. And we can always issue a rule, clarification and notifications to ensure that these companies will be benefited. 14th July 2014, they placed 4 such draft notifications before the parliament. One for private company, one for government company, one for Nidhi company, one for section 8 companies. That is former section 25 is called as section 8 companies now. Till today it has not seen the light of the day. 1 year gone already. How many private companies are struggling? So as a result, what happens? The private companies, either by themselves or in discussion, or I don't want to use the word collusion, in discussion by taking the professional brain of the professionals, they try to invent a method by which you can avoid the provisions. So we are not willing to, what is called as, negate the provision of law or overcome the provision of law or violate the provision of law. You are pushing me to take a decision whereby I can ensure legally I can do an illegal act. So who is to be blamed? So how many minutes it will take for you? Are you not aware about the private company concept at the time when you are conceiving this idea? 10 years, 2003, 2013, the act has come into existence. All the chambers, all the institutions have represented. It has gone into the deaf ears. And till today you have not released it. And what an amount of, impact it has on the private companies. Next. Governed through rules. Are we in the right direction? This is nothing but, there is always used to be what is called as the difference of opinion, Tamil solvanga, psychology center, between SEBI and the Companies Act. So SEBI say, the Companies Act department says, SEBI has a chota legislation. See how many big rules and regulations, they govern the whole capital market by rules and regulations. Why not I also do it? So the MCA also thought, we will have a legislation, supposed to be chota in nature, but we will govern by rules and regulations. But is it, that's why we used to say it cannot be called as a Companies Act 2013, we should call it as Prescribed Act 2013, because almost under 200 to 300 places the word prescribed is used, which is yet to be prescribed. Whether the word prescription and the rule-making power that is given in the hands of the bureaucrats, is it going to be a welcome sign or is it going to be misused? It's any man's guess. We have to wait and see. There is one instance I will show you here where there is a possibility of being misused. Now, we have a peculiar situation. I got incorporated under the 2013 Act, but I will get married to another company in the 1956 Act. Because merger amalgamation is yet to come into existence. So a person, not only the student are worst affected because they don't know which book to follow. So they have to have the 1956 Act Bar Act and 2013 Bar Act, and they do a merger, and the question paper will have A, B, 156 Act question, 2013 Act question. He cannot leave one in choice also. Leave the students. Somehow they will make it up. Come to the professionals. One live example, section 81, which we call them as issue, further issue of capital. That section itself consists of only 5 to 6 subsections, out of which 3 subsections yet to be notified. First 3 subsections are notified. As a result, the new law, first 3 subsections I have to see, the another 3 subsections I have to see the old law. Why this dichotomy? Either you bring it in full, or you don't bring it. You are creating a havoc in the situation by creating confusion. No one knows which is the correct trend. Not only the practitioners, not only the industry, even the persons who are the regulators, they themselves are in confusion whether they, that is the reason why you can see for the past few years, no inspections are being ordered. Because when the inspection is ordered, you must know what to inspect, how to ask questions. You can ask the old question paper, right? Private and public companies are painted with the same brush. This I have given you a couple of examples, so I do not want to repeat it. This is the worst thing that they can do in the Companies Act. Because the fundamental concept, public and private, because originally when the concept private was conceived, you don't have a sole proprietary, we will give you a corporate status, convert your status into that of a private. When you want to go to the public, have a public limited company. That is how the whole structure was. It is not today, age-old concept. But you are saying that all of them are equal. So, a person who just started a company with 1 lakh is treated up par with that of Reliance Industries, or with right of Wipro, or with right of Cognizant. Can you even think of it? The man who is just started the capital 1 lakh, he doesn't know the spelling of the word Benz car. Whereas that man sits and runs only in Benz car. How can you equate both? At what logic you can equate them? This simple philosophy the legislators have forgotten. New concept. Whenever a new law, whenever there is a change, the change should be seen always with some new concept. The new concept when you introduce, I have no quarrel. Yes, internationally everything is there. But will it suit our situation? Like for example, few of the new concepts. Subsidiary definition. A term that is used in the legislation, if it is defined in more than one methodology in the act itself, it will create confusion. That's what precisely has happened. The term subsidiary is defined under the definition clause, and the term subsidiary is differently defined for the purpose of consolidation of financial statements. The term subsidiary, as though we have understood all these years, over these 50-60 years, when you control more than half of the equity capital of the company, is modified to read as more than half of the total capital of the company. And total capital, again, they got some sudden voice spark. They said capital includes convertible preference capital. So there is a change in the perception. This is what they call them as a new concept. Small company, dormant company. And you have the new concept like women director, independent directors. I'll come to all these things. Each one I will take a couple of minutes because I know 45 minutes of time. So I have another 22 minutes with me. Right? Next. Majority of the provisions that have been introduced are knee-jerk reaction. That is the saddest part in our legislation scheme. The reason being, one Satyam will take place, then they think all the businessmen are Satyam only. One Sahara will take place, then they will think everyone is Sahara. One Sharda scam will take place, then they think everyone is Sharda. Forgetting the fact, what is the root cause? Someone make a statistical analysis, which I have done, identifies that 5-6 companies in the NBFC group which has collapsed. Take any 5 companies. Just go through the records. A month before that, Reserve Bank of India would have come there for inspection, would have given a certificate they are complying with all the norms under the sun. How did it collapse within 4 days? Who is to be blamed? So because of 2 companies, 3 companies collapsed here and there, what is wrong in the system, how we do things? In fact, if you see the 1956 Act, you will be surprised. The only chapter that has not undergone amendment is inspection investigation. Enormous amount of powers are there in the existing law, right from 235 to 250 capital A of the Companies Act. 251 is only a saving provision. So if you see all those provisions, you will see enormous amount of powers are given. But how many prosecutions have taken place? How many companies have been penalized? Just see the statistics. So what is the point in trying to say that we are bringing a new concept? Just a knee-jerk reaction. Because it has happened, I will stop everything. Because one NBFC collapsed, all the schemes will be stopped. Cost of compliance. Ultimately, we say shareholders should be benefited, or rather stakeholders should be benefited. By increasing the cost of compliance, you are robbing the profit that is due to the shareholders. There is another great, what do you call it, daylight robbery. I will come to that. Under the different name they have. But now the general, these are all small, what do you call it, penny theft like, no? They say cost of compliance, at whose cost? Robbing the profit that is genuinely due to them, right? Protection of shareholders' interest, whether it is a myth or a reality. Shareholders are given a rosy picture. You are eligible to vote from wherever you are. Press the button, your vote is recognized there. He probably may press it, whether it has been recognized there is no check for him. Okay. And whether the voting that has been given, the process through which it goes, ultimately it is taken as right or wrong or treated as invalid, there is no communication back to him. Even the normal SMS we send, sometimes it doesn't reach. I used to send sometime to my junior saying that this particular provision is to be done tomorrow morning, come at 8 o'clock. That come to 8 o'clock early in the morning, that message alone will not go there. Sometimes, I'm not blaming her, sometimes it happens, right? So when that be the situation, the person sitting at Guwahati sending a message to Trichinapalli, where one registered office is there, electronic voting. See, are we geared up to meet the situation? We have to see the ground reality. Most of them purchased 1 share, 10 share, 5 shares because next man says, this man says, no one would have read the prospectus, no one knows what a prospectus is. Many of the investors, barring few investors who really genuinely does that, right? Synchronization. There is no synchronization. SEBI will say something. There's a live example related party. SEBI will say, are you related party under 2 subsection 76? Or are you a related party within the meaning of accounting standard? Then the transaction comes within that disclosure is this. And finally they will say, if it is at arm's length, none of these provisions will apply. That's it, as simple as that. So there is no synchronization. For the same term, half a dozen definition. Can you not have one definition which is applicable to all? Barring exceptional circumstances where the preamble of the law is totally different, which requires a mild amendment. But for that, the term should remain the same. This, I think I need not educate the audience like this, related party transaction. This has created enough confusion, but only thing is we have to thank the legislators in only one way. There are 3 major sections under the Companies Act. One is 185, the other is 186, the other is 188, and there is one chapter called as deposits. These 4 things have given enough revenue for all the professionals. Because every day minimum 2 opinions we are giving. Because no one knows what is 185, what is 186, what is 188, how it should be interpreted, whether rightly or wrongly, no one knows. In that way, it has given us some benefit. We should thank the legislators to that extent. In confusion, we are surviving, right? In one way. But this related party, just go into the details. In the related party definition, of course, related party, only one thing I should salute the government. They have understood that term relative has to be fine-tuned. Earlier, there used to be 22 types of relatives. Brother, brother's wife, everyone under the sun. Only thing is probably they have not taken cognizance of the prayer we used to say in our schools. All Indians are my brothers and sisters. That alone they have not taken cognizance of. Otherwise, everyone will be treated as a related party. Now they have reduced down. Only father, mother, son, daughter, and son's wife, daughter's husband, and they stopped. This even the brother's wives, the Naptanar, Mamanar, Tondra poite. Right? Not only in real life, but also under the Companies Act. Right? So those probably some of the welcome measures, some 8, 9 relatives are there. So in that way, probably we have to appreciate. confidentiality at risk. This is another greatest impact. As a general prescription, the decision taken by the board of directors, which is supposed to be the decision of the brain of the company, will never be made known to an outsider. In fact, you can see the wisdom that prevails when the 1956 Act was brought in. There is only one section, 196, which talks about inspection. That section says inspection of the minutes of the general meetings. It doesn't allow even the auditors to see the board minutes, strictly speaking, legally speaking. There is no provision in the law which gives the power to the auditors ask for it. But in practice, leave it. In practice, we always, when the audit assistant comes, immediately we give the board minutes. For simple reason, next 10 days he will not disturb us. That is the practice, legally. There is no provision in law. Now this section says, 179 of the new law says, all the decisions that are being listed thereunder, and such of the matter as may be prescribed, which is given again under the rules, approximately some 19 to 20 items will come. All of them should be intimated to the registrar of company within 30 days of passing the resolution in MGT 14. Where is the confidentiality? Now suddenly wisdom has come. What is that wisdom? Our minister has moved a bill called as Companies Amendment Bill 2014, where they said, you continue to file, we protect your confidentiality. How? Public cannot inspect those documents. The moment you file it with the registrar of company, it becomes an open secret. We know how to see there. Where is the confidentiality? Only thing is probably there is a possibility, I don't say it is, there is a possibility this aspect may breed corruption. Right? Fraud. I was told by Mr. Murali SK spoke about fraud this morning. Right? Whether the fraud has been defined fraudulently is my question. And at the height of that particular situation is the Companies Amendment Bill 2014. The government is going to prescribe the quantum, which alone should be reported. The others need not be reported. The moment you say fraud, fraud is a fraud. That is a chinna tappu, periya tappu. 10 ரூபா திருடினா விட்டுரும், 10 கோடி ரூபா திருடினா பிடிப்பியா? The definition of the term fraud is well defined under the Indian Contract Act 1872. Way back, not now. And intentionally designed to deceive a person. Finish. Whether it is small or big, makes no difference. Report it. Why chota fraud I will not? Big fraud, mega fraud? Who determines that? Government is going to determine. So government will have its own power in its hand to play with these figures, who to be reported, what to be reported, depending upon the internal discussion. It is not giving a correct signal. I am talking about the general economics, general industrial situation. So, the fraud, according to me, has been fraudulently defined. The intention is good. You have to report the fraud. Make all fraud to be reported. That comes to your knowledge. Right? Penal provisions. All the penal provisions, not a small amount. Everything is high. All are only 5-star hotels type. 25,000, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 25 lakhs. In fact, when the secretarial audit has been made compulsory now for certain categories of companies, some of the new entrants and all, they came and asked me, sir, secretarial audit, what is the fee I should fix? I told him, no, fix any fee that you want, but not less than 1 lakh. So he said, why? Because if there is a default or non-compliance of any provision, the minimum penalty is 1 lakh. You cover at least in your professional fee that. So like that, the penalty provision that are being provided there, I mean, astonishing. Who is going to pay that much money? 10 crores, 5 crores, 3 crores. 10 default in one company by a person knowingly or unknowingly, you will become insolvent. He can never get qualified to act as director or anything in any company. You have the provisions. Yes, we require deterrent provisions. I don't say no. But you must keep in the corner of the mind, by prescribing such a deterrent provisions, you are making the real talented person, giving them the frightening situation not to come and participate. An independent director, you say you get so many things doubt, so many problems, so many penalties, so many fines. Why he will come and sit here for 4 hours and take only 10,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees? He will not. So you must create an atmosphere which is conducive in nature. At the same time, yes, you have to deal with an iron hand. There is no doubt about it. I don't encourage people trying to swallow the money of the public at large. I'm the last person to excuse it. But let there be some, what you call this, correlation. Then only it will be meaningful. NCLT, this 4-letter word, I think it will never come the way things are moving. National Company Law Tribunal, for so many years, it is going on this way, that way, constitutional validity, so many things were there. In one of the last hearings that took place before the Supreme Court, none appeared from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs to defend it. So the judge got so annoyed, he just threw the bundle saying that no more priority hearing. When it comes in the normal way, it will take another minimum 3 years. Unless again, some extraordinary pressure is being pushed. So when that be the situation, how NCLT is going to be there? When NCLT is not going to be there, how the balance provisions of the company that are going to be dealt with? All these things are $1 million question one has to answer. Flow of funds. Virtually crippled. This is the deposit chapter. Already the private company definition. And so normally we understand private. We used to say, sir, please come, I want to tell you something privately. That means 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, we call them as private. Under the Companies Act, 200 is also private. The number has been increased to 200. Forget, let them do that. The main condition there, one of the conditions, restrictions required to be prescribed in the article of Vadodation, saying that you are prohibited from inviting or accepting deposit from public other than directors, relatives or members, removed. Then in the deposit rules, slowly they inserted saying that you can take it from your director. The deposit rules has undergone a substantial change, right from the share capital. Advance for share capital that is being received, you are supposed to allot it within 60 days. Otherwise, refund it. Within 15 days, when you don't refund, you will call this deposit. When you are a deposit, since non-compliance, penalty provisions, the total penalty provision is much more than the advance for share capital you would have received. There are so many instances, all the jewelry schemes thrown to streets. The basic way in which savings used to take place in the traditional family for the sake of the marriage of the son or the daughter, as the case may be, because either way today we require money. So when that be the situation, all those things are being blocked. The savings habit is being stopped. Yes, we require tightening provisions in deposits, not in this way. And now the government is seriously thinking whether they can redo certain portions with reference to the deposits because the pressure is mounting on them. There are not 1 or 2 instances because the deposit chapter by itself will take minimum 3 hours to discuss on that. But the concept deposits have undergone a substantial change, putting everything into virtually putting in simple word, the funds flow into the capital market and the funds flow into the business is virtually crippled because of that. Right? The new act, if you go through all the provisions, virtually they are treating all corporate and they are looking at them as criminals, which I can never excuse the framers of law. No corporates are criminals. Yes, here and there, 1 or 2 black sheep is there. It is there in everything. Right from the parliament, right down the lower level. 1 or 2 will unscrupulous fellows will be there. But you can't take that as everyone is criminals. There is one company secretary makes a mistake. Doesn't mean all company secretaries are bad. One chartered account makes a mistake. Doesn't mean all chartered accounts are bad. 1 or 2 will be there. You must try to see. Just ignore it and move forward. But you're looking at corporates like criminals and the way in which provisions are being structured. Because the time given is short, I'm not able to explain you all the details. You'll be surprised the way in which they are being looked at. Yes, having said everything against them, here and there, some good things they have done. Okay, what are the good things? Positive attributes. It is a structured law. Right from incorporation till winding up, it is in a structured way it has been done. A good thing, yes, we appreciate. Rules driven. Many of them are rules. Let us wish and hope the rules are driven meaningfully. Special courts are being asked, but the way in which the company's amendment bill is trying to deal with the special courts, I think the intention is lost. Fast track corporate restructuring and class action, welcome move, but both the things have not come into existence. Anything that is welcome has not come. That is a pity. Next. New business models, one-man company, but will it be a success story? It's a $1 million question. Probably when we discuss one-man company after a year or two in the same platform, I will tell you that concept will be removed shortly. Entrenched provisions. Originally, when a private company is formed, subsequently, we used to have the JV agreement. All the clauses of the JV agreement will be brought into the Articles of Association because somewhere in Supreme Court has said something in Rangarao case saying that all the provisions, unless otherwise prescribed in the articles, will not bind the company. Forgetting the fact that decision is with reference to transfer of shares, but everyone believed that everything should be there. Then Messrs Holding Limited reversed that particular decision. But then the government thought, let us include that provision by way of entrenched provisions in the articles. Removal of CG approval, yes, we have to welcome this because the motto of the new law itself is less government, more governance. So government approval is virtually removed. It's a welcome measure. Recognition of electronic era, whether it should be recognized as a good or bad, is a matter to be decided. Because, for example, video conferencing for board meeting. You all think video conferencing is very good? Yes, no? Yes, because there is no one to come and check what has really happened. But if you really go through it, if you are a businessman, you may not like it. Are you able to hear me? Yes? You are able to hear, ma'am, what she said? Yes. This is what chairman should do in video conferencing. His job is only to tap like this. Are you able to hear me? Are you sitting in Germany? Are you able to hear me? You are sitting in France. What he says in Germany, you are able to hear it. If not, there will be one translator. In the meantime, my friend will go for a restroom and come back. Again, I have to take an attendance. 2.5 pages are there in the rules for what you call as video conferencing. In small word, you can add in the rules, every individual who is willing to become a director of the company should necessarily undergo 2 months orientation program, how to handle this microphone. Yes, audio visual. Normally we don't go for that, sir. Yeah, Skype is there. Sir, you are going very advanced, sir. I am in the lower level. Anyhow, that's also there. Shareholders' democracy is the biggest tamasha, which I explained earlier. All the shareholders thinking that their rights are being protected, the shareholders are given extra weightage. Please take it from me. You are all being fooled. The shareholder democracy, it is only a myth and not a reality. You will understand it in another 6 to 8 months. The live example. The moment this electronic voting has been brought into existence, the face-to-face interaction with the directors of the company to know about the financial performance of the company is lost. There is no face-to-face touch. It is becoming almost like in our family. Father is sitting somewhere, mother is sitting somewhere, son is sitting somewhere, daughter is sitting somewhere. Occasionally we type the computer, someone will be there. That personal touch is missing. I am not able to ask my owners, I am not able to ask the person whom I appointed to run the business, why this entry, why that entry. That personal touch, that affinity, that closeness gone. It becoming a real mechanical business world because of this electronic. Of course, internal and secretarial audit. This is not the forum to explain on that. Recognition of standards. You have accounting standard, you have auditing standards, you have secretarial standards. For everything we have a standard except for the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. There is no standard for them to bring in provisions. Serious Fraud Investigation Office. If you see the history, you will be surprised. You know what is the terminology for this office originally? Serious Fraud Office. I mentioned to the minister, sir, don't put that, it gives a wrong signal. Then the word investigation was added. Originally it was only SFO. Then only it became SFIO. Say, over enthusiasm. We want to bring something. NFRE, I think that is your baby. I need not touch about it. Mandatory committees, yes, committees are necessary because the whole intention of having the committees, of course, only 3 mandatory committees are there now. So the intention of legislature is some specialized body will go into the threadbare onto the issues and give it to the board for them to take a well-informed decision. CSR. I said no daylight robbery. This is the CSR.
But you listed all these as a positive attribute.
Yeah. Positive attribute from the government point of view. None of these positive from my point of view. In law, these are all said to be positive attributes according to the ministry.
Then you are misguiding all of this.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm clarifying now. Okay, company law will always have a clarification, not a confusion.
Corporate should share social burden also. They are taking money from the public. That's why they should share social burden along with the government.
Right. That's what individuals view. I will tell you why I say the CSR may be misused. CSR, the thrust behind this is charity. I should give something in return to the society. That should come from within, not by compulsion of law. No one can tell you by compulsion, please do 10% of your income definitely to charity. Then it is compulsion, it is not coming from within. All these years, there are so many big industries in India which is known for what you call as charity, Atiti Devo Bhava. So we all do it not because of a compulsion of law. And world over, we are the first person to compel by law to do charity, communicating the information to world at large. Unless you are compelled, you won't do it. That's the sad state. That's what I am trying to find out. And see the schedule that has been given. All those are the requirements which the government is required to do. Why are passing on that pressure to the corporate? Corporates are meant to do business, to make profits, to take care of the stakeholders' interests. That's it. I will take care of the social responsibility myself. No one need to teach me. But that is what is happening. There is no checking mechanism. And there are half-baked rules that have been coming into existence, and every now and then they are adding on. You can see just the rules. They doesn't say removal of hunger. You see the rules. It doesn't say removal of hunger. I appreciate. They say removal of extreme hunger. That's extreme hunger. See, you must understand. Even the duties of directors, you can see. Don't make undue gain. What is the message we are trying to give? Can you not draft it a little bit better? Anyhow, that is incidental. Uniform accounting and consolidation of accounts, I think you are all familiar with it. Let me not take it. Now the new mantra. What is the new mantra? What Mr. Arun Jaitley, our Honorable Minister, has said. Ease of doing business. That's why Companies Amendment Bill 2014 has been brought in. 14 amendments are there. 3 amendments refers to special courts, bench, etc., etc. The first amendment is refers to removing the minimum capital that is required, 1 lakh, 5 lakh. By removing 1 lakh, 5 lakh, how are you doing to ease the doing business? I don't know. Removing 1 lakh, 5 lakh, I don't know. Why you inserted then? By inserting, removing, are you able to demonstrate that you will be having the ease of doing business? I don't know. Is it so? Touch your heart and ask. All the 14 amendments, please go through it. Whether the ease of doing business is going to come or not, we will all be losing the peace of doing business if you go through the Companies Act. This is the ultimate conclusion. You can see that. This is my view always. Whenever you bring in a law, it should be capable of being understood. It should be capable of being complied with. It should be capable of being administered also. And it should be realistic and boost the overall economic growth. Only when these things are achieved, the law will serve its purpose. Otherwise, it will be only of an academic interest. But yes, we professionals will interpret the way in which we want. Personally, I have no grievance against this 2013 Act. There are changes, means inevitable problems will be there. What troubles me is the inordinate delay the government is taking to make the changes immediately to bring home the intent with which this law was brought in. That was the only point for me. The moment it brought in, everyone cried, private companies are treated at par. You don't take 1.5 years to bring private company exemptions. Why? This is my quarrel. This is the only simple thing that I would like them to know. This is what I expect. The government will react. By and large, otherwise, yes, this is an excellent legislation. Yes, we do require changes, and changes have come. Definitely, whenever there is a change, we always resist. That resistance is what I am also doing. But the resistance I am doing is not for the sake of resistance. I am able to demonstrate at every point of time what it is. There are so many situations. There is no time for me. 185 loans to directors. Public company, private company, everyone banned. In a private company, loans to directors, when you ban, what is the earthly use? Because what is this private company? BCom itself, or why BCom now? +2 itself they teach you. Private companies are nothing but glorified partnership. A partnership converted. In partnership, I put money, take money whenever I want. I convert it to status because someone said when you become private company, banks will give more loans. Forgetting the fact, they are asking personal guarantee only, ultimately. So, there is no difference, much difference, except the status. but you're putting a restriction there also with reference to directors. So those are all things alarming situation. The inflow of funds, I'll come to you, sir. The inflow of funds, the way in which we expect is not coming because no one knows the stability in which we are traveling. That's the reason why the inflow of funds are restricted. And every person before signing now taking after their opinions. Why? Everyone is afraid. Because which way? Every side seems to be right. But which is the correct one? No one knows. Even before signing an account, before signing the audit report, or before signing the secretarial audit report, or any decision taken in the boardroom, why don't we take an opinion? Ultimately, it boils down to that fact. That's not correct. Opinions are expressed, required only when there is a definite, what you call as a difference of thought process in that. Then only the interpretation is required. Not for everything right from the title. This is my humble submission. So they said 3:40 I should leave, finish. It's 3:38 now. 2 more minutes I have. The 2 minutes I spend only to communicate my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Murali for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on this Companies Act, and I thank my junior Ms. Nitya who helped me also, not only in operating but also in designing some of the, what you call as the pictures and other things, also her brainwave. So all those things I thank her also. I thank all the participants because I know it's very difficult to keep awake after the food. Okay, I tried my level best. I think I have succeeded in that. And I wish you all the very best, and wish you all a happy new year, and I pray God to give you all good health, peace of mind, Ashtaishwaryam and success in every walk of life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ravi. I don't think anyone can go to sleep. It will be a disturbed sleep only, if at all. And after hearing his presentation, if any of these people who are present would opt for independent directorship and all, he should be fit to be conferred with Padma Shri for the sheer confidence and guts, actually, to that extent. But definitely you have given, that's why I have mentioned the critical analysis I mentioned. In fact, I did tell him, the reason is this particular provision I have brought, this is he has brought, all these things. No. Instead, what are the other side also? So that, in fact, the compliance side, I have given very little time. Otherwise, non-filing of return, you cannot become a director of any company. Earlier, at least a listed company was there. Now, even friendship basis, you are accepting as a director somewhere. If they don't file, you will lose all your directorship with public sector banks and Navaratna companies also. So that is the weakest link it will become. So you must be very cautious in taking up, even for obligation purposes. These are all certain issues. If I had given time, we would have done it, but then probably would have resigned from the directorships or from the auditorships of various companies. So we are supposed to talk about professional development tomorrow, in fact. And I requested Sandana Krishnan and our PD committee chairman also to come and speak about allotment of bank audits and taking up tax audit beyond the, whatever the limits. So what are the issues which is now currently there? And what is the C&AG's, the website, what they have put. All those issues I want a PD committee chairman to speak tomorrow, actually. So probably would have included this also, if there is a mass resignation of auditors from companies. So anyway, thank you very much, sir, for because of his experience and exposure with the corporate law has given him to analyze in depth. Thank you very much for being present there at the shortest notice. Thank you very much, Mr. Ravi. Thank you very much. And I have to thank Nitya also for, for giving the necessary support also. I have to thank her also. And another thing I have to, I request the chairman to honor Mr. Aruloli, because he has given memento to everybody. And somehow, we have to. And I have to reciprocate also, isn't it? So I request our chairman to give a memento to Maruloli. But really, he should be thanked. Thank you very much. And just an announcement to you, what we have organized tomorrow between today 6 to 8, we have got a formation and taxation of charitable trust and FCRA. We are doing it by way of a national live webcast. A studio has been set up in the first floor, where 2 hours you will be getting. You need not worry, having spent so much. It's a bonus for you. While going out, the register will be there, so that you can sign it, and you can come back here in Brahmaya Hall itself. We have got a live webcast program will be there. It's a beautiful program. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. In the disciplinary committee, 20% of the cases is FCRA violations, either without obtaining registration, giving a certificate, or earmarked whatever the designated bank account that remittances are not deposited, which the auditor has not seen, or from the designated account it goes to another account for siphoning off. This type of cases have been filed by Serious Fraud Investigation Office, actually. So I say CPE as well. In some of the NGO sectors, they have filed many cases as such from the Home Ministry. This is not from Finance Ministry. It is filed by the Home Ministry, actually. They are only the regulators for this particular act. So that is being discussed by eminent chartered accountant today, 6 to 8. You can stay back and you can see or sign and get the credit. It is just like CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility. I am the chairman of the research committee, where they say comply or disclose. That's what they said. Whatever you have mentioned here, what they say, comply or disclose. This is from Dr. Bhaskar Banerjee, who is in charge for the Company Law Institute director. He himself said it is not compulsion. In fact, they are given by way of a circular also, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has given. It should be interpreted liberally, what they have mentioned. That spirit is being maintained. There is no question whether it is a provision, whether it is a charge, whether it is above the line, whether it is below the line. Accounting Standard 29, all threadbare we have discussed. And finally, we are coming out with a guidance note, that is comply or disclose. This is the position as on date as such. Like that here, you can utilize the service. If you are having come here, you will get 2 hours today as well as tomorrow between 6 and 8. While going out, the register will be open at around 5:45, 5:30. You can sign and you can